that too. So I will use the mic, so just I don't need to force the voice. I don't know if Seth hears me better also with the mic. So today you're here to learn about storytelling and how you can take from your story and leverage that in your communications for whatever it is that you want to promote or sell. And this is my mantra, like stories make us who we are. We are here today because all of the things that have happened to us in the past, and we are like building what is going to be our future as well, to our future story. So every decision that we make today is because what happened to us, and it's because the way that we choose to live today, and that's gonna build our story for the future. So stories make us who we are. And I want to kick it off with, I don't know if you are like me, I am a Netflix addict, Hulu addict, HBO Now Max addict. So I binge watch a lot of TV series. And I love when it is like a biopic or something that is related to the story of somebody else that actually lived. So here I was, I don't know, a few years back on Netflix, and then this pop up like recommendations for you. And it was this series called Self-Made. Self-Made is a story about Madam C.J. Walker, who here knows about her. I see a couple of nods. Okay, everyone. Nice. So for me, she was new. And I started to binge watch this series, and all of a sudden, I was connected with her story. She is in the Record Guinness book. She is considered the first female millionaire, self-made millionaire, and she is African American as well. So here in the US. So she is like inspiration. She started to create products for the hair, shampoo, creams, and all of that. So while I am watching her story on Netflix, I'm like, oh my God, going through Google, Mackenzie Walker, did she really exist? Where did she live? Why did she die? Cause of that, all the things that Google pops up and the questions. So I was like there, like searching about her story and all of that. And then I was like, can I buy her product? Is the product still available? And then, yes, it is. It is on Sephora. Yeah. Now the brand is called Madame. So, but it's still her face, it's still her brand. So I don't know who bought who or whatever, but you can actually buy her product 100 years later, or more than 100 years, because she died about in the 1910 or something like that. So that's the power of her story, because I watched her series on Netflix, because I connected to her. I then went to Google, and I then went to Sephora. And then 100 years later, I'm buying her product a night at home from my phone. Isn't that amazing? That is the goal that we have with our brands, with our services, that it goes past throughout time. That is legacy that we're building. And that even if I don't connect with the product, I connected with her story. Now I know the first female millionaire self-made, who she is, what she did, and how can I, being a Latin person living in US, also have inspiration to build that for myself and my brand. So that's the power of the stories. And it goes to your own story. So today we're going to tackle on you. What is it that you have that you can take and make that self-made? What is it that happened to you in your past, that breaking moment? And it doesn't have to be a tragic moment. It can be a defining moment in your life that shaped you, or maybe someone in your family that inspired you, so you can create your own story. So this is a little bit about,
This is me. I was just 4 years old, and this was probably the first time that I held in my hands a film camera. Your present story is in your beginnings.
So, to tell you a little bit about myself, I am almost 37 years old. My birthday is in a couple of weeks, and I'm from Venezuela in South America. When I left my country about 8 years ago, well, I was here living the life. And then my mom and dad came a few years later, and they came with these CDs that we used to have. And they kind of digitalized a lot of the recordings that we have on our video camera. And then I was going through these CDs, and I found this footage. This is me, actually 4 years old, and my dad had this mini DV camera, and we were doing a barbecue, and I was like, please, give me the camera, I want to film, give me the camera. And my dad was like, okay, here's the camera, take it. And again, it was like a huge camera, okay, it's 1992. So he gave me the camera, I grabbed the camera, and then I pressed the rec button, and then I started running, and you can hear his voice, but don't press stop, and then you can walk, and then he was teaching me how to do it. And when I found this footage, it's the first time that I had in my hands a film camera. And today I'm a video producer. So I started connecting the dots from that moment that I just found. So that's when it started. That's like the first thing that I want you to look into your own story. When was the first time you got interest about what you do today? It was because of something that happened to you, a lesson that someone teach you, an experience that you have, a curiosity. Let's go back to our childhood and search for a defining moment that is now your present. So this is me. Already Nikki told you a little bit about myself. I'm executive producer of the Magos Films. That's the company that I represent. I have 17 years of business working in video production. I have worked with a lot of clients here in US as Bank United, the FIU, the Miami Foundation, and also celebrities like Alicia Keys, DJ Khaled. I also have short films and documentaries on my background. So it is like a building, like it's been a journey of building upon that. So when I found that footage, that's when I always keep it and see it, because that's it, that's me. When I was 4, right there, like that's the story. And it can also be, if it, maybe you can find something that actually happened to you, it can be maybe the perspective of someone else's story. So I was wondering, like, why do I like to tell stories? Why do I connect when I see a Netflix series? Why do I have the need to go on Google and find the story and read about the person? Why did I like history when I was in school? Like, why? Why is this happening? So I then remember my grandfather. He was Croatian. And this is me, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my cat. Of course, I'm a cat mom, so that's me. I have scratches all of my arms. So when I was remembered, why do I like the stories? It's because of him, because I grew up listening to his stories. How he escaped Croatia, how he went to Austria, then how he got a ticket for a boat, and then 2 months later, he was in Venezuela, like how he learned Spanish, how was his first job, how did he manage to rent an apartment, and how he built a new life in another continent that he didn't know. And it was like the 60s. So he only knew, oh, there's a map, so here. This is the country that is not asking for visas for people. So I'm gonna go there to find a new life. So I grew up listening every time to his stories about his country, about his childhood, about that he played football and all of that. And I realized, maybe this shaped me too. Because by listening to his stories time and time, every time, I started to develop curiosity about people, imagining how was his home, how was his mother, how was that life that he left. And then I connected the dots again and say, hey, he was from Croatia and he went to Venezuela, and now this is happening to me. I'm from Venezuela and I am leaving to the US. So it's a cyclical immigrant story. Something that happened to my grandfather also happened to my father and also is happening to me. So all of that is again shaping the person that I am now. So I invite you to look into your own family tree and say, hey, connecting the dots and go far. For example, I'm 36. That was the age of my grandmother when she came to Venezuela. When I came to US, I was 30. That was the age of my grandfather when he arrived to Venezuela. He was 30. And that 30 I was when I came here. So it started to, to unveil a lot of connections and like, oh, this is happening to me and this is happening to me again. Not only to knowledge, but also to, because when we are conscious about the things that are happening to us, we can reshape it. We can break some patterns and then we can go. So all of that curiosity in finding your own story or finding your family tree or what happened to them or how is it that I like this, all of that is contributing to you, to your brand, to your service. All of that is making you. So this is a little videos about what I am. And while this plays, I want to ask you. No. These are film productions that I have been, and also tying into the story that I was just telling you. None of this will have happened if I didn't find that I like to tell stories, that I like to hear people's stories. And guess what? I have a superpower that I haven't explored yet, which is that I am standing in the supermarket or whatever place, and people come to me and tell me their stories. I don't know. I don't say hello. I don't like to talk to strangers. I am not being this big approach to people, but that is just happened. People are, oh, you know that I'm getting divorced. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you know that I just whatever. So it's like a superpower. I need to, explore more on that. It's not okay. So how do you do it? Now I'm going to teach you 4 strategies that I want you to tap in so you can then also connect the dots and create your own story that then Zach is going to tell you how to put it into the AI and, do it this in a speed fast pace that we're living right now. So 4 strategies. First, choose your story. I know there's a lot of people that you just browse on social media and they just start recording. So before you start, what am I even doing? Why am I recording this video? Why am I posting this picture? Why am I sharing this story? Because if you start just by creating content and just because you need to put something out there, it's not gonna work. Or maybe it's not gonna work the way that you want to work. So before you start, choose your story. How do you choose your story? Let's start by answering these questions. Who are you? And I know this is a complicated question because who are you? We often define ourselves by the things that we do. Oh, I am, I don't know, I own a bakery, or oh, I'm a lawyer, or I'm a father, or I'm a mother. Those are things that you do, but those are not things that you are. So the question is deeper, is who are you? You're a person who likes, you're a person who is this way, who behaves this way. And sometimes I know it's a tough question, so maybe it's easier for you to find who you are not. So, oh, I am not a dishonest person, for example. Oh, I am not a person who will cross this boundary. So by knowing who you're not, you are also getting to know who you are. So maybe the question is reshaping who you're not. And then what do you want to say? I don't know about every business of you, but when you want to promote your product, your service, when you want to get more clients, what do you want to say to them? How do you want to connect with them? And sometimes it's easier when you pick a first. So let's do this. This is really fun exercise to do. Let's pick the first time that you travel. Do you remember? The first time that you went on a plane, the first time that you saw the beach, the first time you had your first girlfriend or boyfriend, the first time you had a kiss, the first breakup, the first time that you tried sushi. I remember the first time that I tried sushi. So when you pick those first, you can pick, oh, this is the element that I'm gonna connect now with the story that I'm selling. So for example, the first time that I got heartbroken, I was, I don't know, 18 years old. And that taught me that I could, that even when I thought my life was ending, it was not. So now I coach people and I am a life coach. You see like how you connect with the first. Oh, the first time I had sushi, it had plantains. And I didn't know about that. But then I realized that sweet and sour is good. So now I'm a great chef. So pick a first that happened to your life and connect it with whatever that you wanna, whatever that you wanna say. And all of those first, all of that going back moments are shaping your essence. That is who you are, how you project yourself, how you present yourself. All of that is making you. 2, decide the intention. So we have the story, we have the first, we have the memory, we have that. We already have it connected with whatever that we're gonna sell today. Now, what's the intention? The intention for me is create an emotional connection. When you connect emotionally with somebody that is listening to you, they are gonna remember you even far from what you're ever saying. They're gonna remember how you look or like how they felt when they saw your message. So it is a connection. It's a connection between the message that you're saying and the heart of the people. It's a meme, but it's really good meme, so I really want to play it. It's from your heart to their heart. And I don't know if you have watched this movie. If you don't, they have 2 movies now. So go and watch it. So this, it's Inside Out. And Inside Out is all about the emotions. So we have sadness, we have anxiety, is anxiety? I don't remember. Anxiety, right? Joy, and then anger, and then I think this is doubt or something like that. Exactly. So all those are the primary emotions, and now we have evolved with the second movie. We have more emotions. I cry a lot in the second movie, but it's basic. You want people to laugh when they see you. You want people to get inspiration and really kind of move them so they are kind of sad, but they are also in reflecting space after they see your message. Do you want them to feel anger because you are anger and they have to be anger because this is happening because the way that you're teaching this? So what is the emotion that you are expressing when the connection that you just made before? So for example, if we go back to so the plantains and the sushi, and then I'm a good chef, then I want them to know, to feel joy. And my message is about, oh, look at this amazing recipe that I am cooking right now that is also plantain, that is also connected with the first time that I had sushi, and now it's bringing like wholesome mood and wholesome food for you. So it's about joy. Or is it about breakup? You know, the first time that I got a breakup, and then I went, and then my life was gonna end, and now I am coach life because yeah, and then joy. So you started with anger, and then you go to joy, and then you have a little bit of sadness there. So it's about analyzing what is the intention, what is the connection that you're making with when the story is developing. Third is the cliffhanger. So the cliffhanger is key. And this is what uses Netflix and all of that. Now TikTok uses like part 1, part 2, part 3. And you start just watching a person talk about 3 minutes. And then when it's ending, it's, oh, go to part 2. And you're like, why do I need to go to part 2? Just tell me now. And then you go through a profile, and then you follow, and then you did all the things because you wanted to know what happened. So that's a cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is what Netflix does when they end the episode, and then you are like, oh, what's going on next? And then it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, next episode. And then you're hooked. You're hooked for the whole weekend. Now they have series that you can see in a weekend. You know, that you can just being in your couch and see the whole 8 episodes from the beginning to the end. So that's a cliffhanger. So what I encourage you is when you are putting your message out, end with a thing that also is creating that hunger. So people are like, okay, I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna keep watching her. I'm gonna keep watching the part 2 video. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna follow. So that is important. These are series that I recommend for you to see. They are in the entrepreneurship side. We have Inventing Anna and Drop. If you haven't seen Drop, crazy people make a lot of money doing crazy stuff, and then people just give it to money. So when you're thinking, why is anyone giving me money for my business? Drop. I don't want you to do illegal stuff, but I only to know that there is opportunities if we are looking for them. Also about Inventing Anna. Inventing Anna is excellent, I know. She had like tons and tons of money and people just give it to her. And then we are like, oh. So those are like ways to find inspiration. Also, we have Ted Lasso, which is a great coach about football, even if you don't love football. It's about growing, a person that is growing after a divorce. So amazing story. If we are more into the romantic love side, there is Bridgerton, which also have four seasons now. Amazing also. You can really watch, of course. And into the more dark side, if you like, there is Ozark, which is about a drug dealer, which amazing again. These people doing business. Everyone is doing business except Ted Lasso and Bridgerton. Everyone is doing a business in a way. But what I put here is because I remember, even though the Drop and Inventing Anna was also many years ago, I still remember the stories like self-care. So that's the goal. And the fourth strategy is the hook, which is the most amazing part. The hook is the first thing that people are gonna see about you when they saw your video or when they see whatever that you're sharing on their stories. Now the attention span is reduced from like 10 seconds to 5. So every time that I see someone starting with, hi, my name is so-and-so, 6 seconds, I already scrolled down. So don't start with hi, your name is. No. Go to the chase. Go to the chase. Like go to the thing that is gonna keep them hooked. So when I started with stories make us who we are. And then this is my name and what I do, whatever. But you need to remember the point. So the hook is that piece, that connection that is gonna grab you at the attention of everyone seeing you. And this applies not only for social media. If you go to a networking event, hi, do you know stories make us who we are? Oh yeah, well, yeah, my name is Xenia, I'm a video producer, I can produce your stories, your videos, your content. Oh, okay. Oh, hi. Do you know that sweet and sour, whatever, and now I'm chef? Or do you know, like, starting with that and then saying your name? Because chances are people are not gonna remember your name. You probably give them the card or the link or whatever, but that hook is gonna stay. So the way that you present yourself also is a hook. The way that those first seconds when you meet someone, those all are hooks. And to me, it's like a shot from their mouth. And when I learned this phrase in English, I was like, yes, I'm gonna use it, shot from their mouth. So I want to go back. I don't know if you went to high school. And I know here we didn't have it in Venezuela, but I know here you have proms and homecomings and all of that. So I fantasize with having my own homecoming. So I figure because I watch a lot of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Full House and all of that. I grew up watching to those series. When homecoming came, there was like this moment, like you were with your friends and you were like here, all the girls, and then you had a crush. And then that crush kind of appears like from down the hall. And then when you see that crush, the moment stops and he or she starts like walking in slow motion and the hair waves and the jacket and there's like a whole fantasy around the entrance of this person. And everyone's just like the water drops, people that are eating, like start everything puts pause because that person is entering the room. And you are like, oh my God, that's the crush. Is he coming? Is she here? Whatever. I don't know. And then this whole situation about the person coming in. So that's what we want to achieve when we are sharing our communications, a shut the front door moment, that everything stops, that the life is in pause, that everyone drops everything because of you, what you're sharing, the way that you're sharing, the emotion that you are connecting, like everything is on point. So everyone's shut the front door. So that's what we want to achieve. And that is with the hook. So let's recap. We have talked about essence, your core, your memories, those first moments, people in your family, what is going on, what happened to you, either joy or tragic or sadness or whatever emotion that comes up with that, that is making you, your essence. What should your audience feel? What is the emotion that you want to communicate when you are sharing that piece of video or content? And how will you share that? The emotion, that the expression, like, is it gonna be from a place of education? Is it gonna be from a place of inspiring? Is it gonna be from a place of comedy? Is it gonna be from a place of more serious? I'm an educator, like how? You have a question? No, no. If you have questions, by the way, I didn't say it at the beginning, but you can just ask. So essence, emotion, expression, every time in every piece of, and it doesn't have to be social again. It's the newsletter that you're sending, the card that you are sharing, the flyer, the event, whatever that you're putting together. And this is key. Don't crave for people's attention. Give useful information so people crave for you. Why? Because we know that there is content everywhere, that everyone is trying to sell you everything. If you subscribe to an email, you're gonna have an email every single day from Bad Boy Work saying, this is the promotion today, or whatever store that you target or whatever, they send you constant emails about promotions. And you are gonna do the same with your business. But the key is don't crave for people's attention like they do. Like, hey, 8.99, the goddamn day of the candle day in December. Like everyone goes crazy for candle day. No, it's give useful information to people so they come back to you. And I don't know if this happened, but probably you follow somebody or some brand that you are like, I haven't seen the post. What happened to this person? Because Instagram didn't show it to you, but you go and look and find the person and start liking and commenting because you like that person. So the same, don't crave for their attention, just be you, the way that you are, and people, the correct people, not everyone, the correct people, the people that is aligned with you and your business will pray for you. I want to end with this story, which to me, American Idol was, again, another TV show that I follow since the beginning. I know it's old, I'm millennial, so I don't know if Gen Zs are in the room. But for American Idol, I guess for you too, it was a huge situation and TV show. So what did American Idol did? That is amazing. We can do the same. And like when I'm watching this, I'm like, I know that I have to do that for the business. So what is it? They don't present you the singer up front. They tell you a little story background about the singer. So there is this guy who has 3 kids, who lives super, super far away and is broke. And he had to sell his car so he could get the plane ticket, so he could travel to the audition. And he has this big cowboy hat. Somehow they always have like cowboy hats or whatever. And there is him saying bye to the wife, the kids, everyone is supporting. He's like walking, and you see him walking away with a suitcase, and everyone is bye, Dad, wish you the best. And then he goes and takes the plane, and then he's here, and then he's biting the nails, he's super nervous, and then he's surrounded by hundreds of people in the same room who's gonna audition again. And you're like, oh man, he just sold the car, he has 3 kids, he has a wife, he's far away, he's broke, this is his chance. If he misses this, it will be like, for him, it's done, we're done. This is his chance or else. So by the time that he enters the stage, you are already, as a viewer, rooting for him. Please sing well, please, Simon, please don't be bad. Please, does he have like a great voice? Please, please. So you are already like rooting at home. Like, please, he has to get the golden ticket because it's his chance. And you are there sold. You are sold on a person that you just watched 2 minutes about his life. And you don't know how he sings, you don't know anything about his life, but because of those 2 minutes, you are sold. You want to vote for him, and if they put a code because somehow he's in danger to leave the show, you're there sending your money and voting because you want to support him because he has 3 kids, whatever. So I want you to choose whenever that you are making a communication, whenever that you're choosing that story, what is your American Idol story? What is that piece of you that you're going to share so all the people watching are rooting for you? Thank you. So that's my information. If you want to follow me, if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer beyond today. So yes, I'm passing the mic to Zach.
Perfect, Xenia. Thank you. What a fantastic way to start this session together and focusing on storytelling. It's such a critical part of what we do, both in our personal lives and in business. Um, my name is Zach Brown. I'm very excited to be joining all of you today, and I'll start off a little bit of my story. So professionally, I started my adult professional life on active duty with the United States Army quite a long time ago. And during that time, I thought I was going to make the military my career. I was convinced I was going to do 20 years. And during my second enlistment, I was hit by a drunk driver and I sustained injuries that ended up cutting my career short. And I found myself back in the civilian world, quicker than I had anticipated, and needing to figure out what my path was going to be professionally. And that took a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning about career development and how to navigate things and figure out who I wanted to be professionally and how I wanted to get there. So through that experience over the past 20 years, I have gotten to work with small agencies and privately owned businesses. I've owned 3 of my own businesses, including my current business, Echelon HR, where I do a lot of business HR consulting and coaching work. And I've also gotten the opportunity to work with large global organizations like the Home Depot, Starbucks, and Microsoft. So currently, I'm focused on running Echelon HR and consulting with a range of entrepreneurs and people who are looking to lean into career development. And I also still hold responsibilities with Microsoft, where I'm leading work related to job architecture and the integration of agentic AI solutions into the talent management and HR space. I included my information up there as well in case you wanted to capture that. And I would recommend keeping your phone close. I have another QR code coming up in a couple of slides here where I'm going to invite you to share just a little bit about you, and that would be helpful to do that. So let's jump to the next slide. Our learning objectives, what we're going to be focused on for our time together. So first, we're going to ground ourselves in success factors. Pulling that thread for many of you started with military experience and pull that through to the business world and how those can impact each other. And then I want to talk a little bit about digital transformation. This is something that whether you're a single person business, an entrepreneur out there doing it on your own, or you're running a small business with a team, or you've scaled and you're running a much larger business, digital transformation is important for all of us. So I wanted to frame that a little bit before we get into AI 101, the world of artificial intelligence. And what we're going to do there is just look at some foundational knowledge about AI outside of the hype cycle. I know many of you have probably been exposed to the same thing I have as far as hearing about AI in 100 different ways every day, but a lot of them don't necessarily apply to practical ways that you can apply them in your business or your personal life. Then we're going to talk about AI prompting skills. This is an important practical skill, and this is where learning to leverage things like AI to do components of storytelling in your business will come in very handy. I'll provide you with a framework around how to prompt well so you can dive in and start to experiment on your own for your business. But let's come back to learning a little bit about each other. If we can move to the next slide. You can grab your phone and scan that QR code there on the left-hand side of the slide. It's a short poll. I'd like to learn a little bit about all of you in the room since I can't be there with you in person today. If your QR code, if you're not able to capture the QR code with your photo app in the phone, you can also enter the address ahaslides.com/G0ELJ and be able to provide an answer that way. I'm interested in learning a little bit about your background. Are you a veteran? Have you served in the military? Are you still serving in the military in some form, whether that's active, reserve, or guard? Do you have a family member or a veteran who is a veteran or a service member, or none of those? And I'll give that a moment to let the answers populate.
Are you able to see the results on your end?
Let me see. I am starting to see them now. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Looks like our technology is not cooperating today. Let's jump to the next slide. I can see that we have quite a few veterans in the room. So that's fantastic. It's always good to be able to connect with other veterans and learn a little bit about your story along the way. And the reason I ask this is because I want to ground this a little bit in military values. As I mentioned before, when I got out of the military, it was much earlier than I had planned. So I was making a transition that I needed to find some guide stones, right? What's my North Star for this next step in the process? And for me, that came with grounding myself in my military values. A lot of these on the left-hand side of the screen in blue look very familiar if you've been in the military or you have family in the military or you've ever known someone in the military. How we pull these through to business. Looking at the right-hand side, those qualities and characteristics in gold are the things that have been identified as critical components of being a successful entrepreneur. Whether that's trustworthiness and authenticity, agility and innovation, goal-oriented vision. These have direct connections to those foundational values that pull through into business every day. And I bring these up because they're not just important for the business component, but let's talk a little bit more specifically when you look at things like agility, innovation, vision, strategic thinking. These are all important characteristics that come in and play a role when you are working through things like digital transformation and trying to gain a competitive advantage in business. Let's move to the next slide. So what is digital transformation? It's a term that a lot of people have heard. When I ask people if they know what digital transformation is, most often I hear, I've heard it. I don't know what it is. I couldn't define it. So one of the popular definitions around this is digital transformation is the rewiring of an organization with the goal of creating value by continuously deploying tech at scale. That sounds like a bunch of corporate babble on the surface, right? What does that practically mean for you and I every day as business owners? It's really about understanding where you can leverage technology to increase your business's impact more efficiently and sustainably, right? So you can't make five of you, but if you can reduce the time it takes to get certain things done, you can employ automation and various tools to advance your business that way and take some of that weight off your shoulders. It's something you should look to do. Another point around digital transformation that I think is very important to call out is it's not a singular event, right? It's not one and done. Um, we live in an age where technology is on a flywheel and it's amplifying every day, faster and faster. I remember a time prior to having the internet in the home. I'll date myself here. And so in that time, just looking at the technological advancements that we've had just over the past 5 years, when I scale that out and look back 15, 25, it's pretty wild how fast it's moving, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. So as entrepreneurs, we need to think about that technology aspect and build our capabilities in that space. Another thing I want to call out around digital transformation is this holistically impacts your entire business, whether it's operations or strategy, marketing and sales, telling your story different ways. Um, there are elements of it that will be impacted by digital transformation. So where do you start? Today, we're going to look at artificial intelligence. We'll mention some pieces around data literacy, which is a critical component here, but we'll start to scratch the surface on AI. We could probably do weeks of workshops on AI, but today I want to get you positioned in a way where you feel confident starting to experiment with artificial intelligence in your business in ways that will actually bring you value as a business owner. So let's talk a little bit about AI. If we can move to the next slide, please. Like I said, I want to take us out of the hype cycle in the videos you see every day about the hot new thing with AI and focus, on grounding ourselves in practically what AI is and what's available. So, for those who haven't heard, a clear definition, artificial intelligence refers to computer systems that can perform complex tasks normally done by human reasoning, decision making, and creating. So we see AI happen in different ways in our day-to-day life, right? Many of us think about ChatGPT the minute we hear AI, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But I want to draw your attention to the chart on the right. Right now, we're living in that top dark blue band, the current, right? We have reactive machines, things like your Netflix recommendations, how those movies get selected to end up on your home screen. Your home screen is going to look different than mine when I turn mine on at home, just based off of our experiences and how we use Netflix and what our data is telling the system. And then we have limited memory versions of AI, which includes generative AI, all the virtual assistants that you see out there, and even self-driving cars, which are starting to become more common. We're seeing Waymo expand to different cities. The future of AI is very speculative. You will see talk in the media every day about whether or not we'll make it to a general artificial intelligence at some time in the near future. And I've heard estimates that we would make that happen in the next 5 years to could be 50 years from now. So we don't know where this is going to take us, but what we do know is the tools exist today, both those that are overt and that you see and interact with, and those that are baked into systems. AI is already a part of our life. So it's very important to get a good handle on this and understand how it can help you in business and in your personal life. Let's go to the next slide. So I mentioned generative AI. This is a specific form of AI, which there are multiple. Generative AI is something you're probably pretty familiar with, right? It's a form of AI that can create new content, whether that's text, images, music. Now the video creation has actually gotten very interesting. And it does that by learning and mimicking large amounts of existing data based on the prompts that you feed AI. So looking at the right-hand side of the screen, those are just the top 50 generative AI mobile apps and the top 50 generative AI web products on the market right now. That is by no means a comprehensive list. There are tons of different tools available out there, from niche tools that only perform one function to more generally applicable AIs. So I use multiple different tools in my day to day, from Microsoft Copilot to ChatGPT. I use Gemini, Cloud, and Perplexity, things like that. And I also have several apps that just have AI baked into them that I use on a regular basis. What you'll find is it's a toolbox, right? You need to customize it for your needs and for your business. It's going to take some trial and error and some exploration. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of the options that are out there, but I invite you to experiment a little bit. Start with something that is more familiar, and then expand and grow into the components maybe that are new for you. So why do you want to do this as entrepreneurs, leveraging generative AI? Why is it critical to you? So first, it's about accelerating productivity and efficiency. If you're able to develop policies or communications in minutes that would have taken you hours to draft multiple copies of and get it dialed in, that's a huge savings on your part. It also enhances creativity and innovation. One way I like to use generative AI is I use the ChatGPT voice app. It's in the plus version of the app. I'll put my AirPods in, go to do the dishes in the evening, and I've got to think through developing a new pitch for an upcoming project. I will actually use ChatGPT as a thought partner, explain what I'm trying to do, and ask it to give me insights about how I should outline this or what resources might be available. And as I'm having this conversation in the 25 minutes that I'm doing the dishes and cleaning up the kitchen in the evening, by the time I'm done, it's already captured our entire conversation. I've asked it to create a prioritized bulleted summary, and that's sitting in my inbox waiting for me the next day when I'm ready to get back at work. But I've already put that task to rest and been able to do so with a creative thought partner. And the third piece is it levels the creative playing field. If you're a small business owner, you've probably felt what competition is like in this landscape. It's a very volatile business landscape. So any edge that you can get to compete with somebody who's doing it bigger or faster than you right now is an edge that I would welcome as a business owner to be able to do that. And I think most of you might as well. Now, I mentioned generative AI is based on the prompts that we feed it. So I've talked with a lot of people through different upskilling workshops, working with people inside of corporate environments and small businesses about AI. And most often when I hear people say, I've tried AI, it doesn't work for me. When we get under the surface a little bit and drill down into what's going on, oftentimes I find it's that they're not really equipped with a great way to approach developing prompts to coach the AI on what you want it to do. And so I like to invite people to think of AI, especially generative AI tools, like a really smart intern. They've got the brain power, they know how to find resources, they know how to access information and tools, but they don't have the context to understand your business and your specific problems or situations that you're trying to address. So that's one of the things we want to think about when we're developing a prompt for AI. So how do we do that? Let's jump to the next slide. This is where we're going to talk a little bit about developing a prompt. Prompt is just the input that you put into an AI system to go after the specific results that you're after. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Today, we're going to focus on a very straightforward format, but I'll share a couple of other things that you want to think about as you get more advanced down the road. They can be simple. They can range to very, very complex. You notice they can be multimodal, and here's what I mean by that. Sometimes you might create a prompt and invite the AI to refer to a picture. If you're asking it to create an image and say, hey, use this picture as inspiration, or use these documents that I upload as reference for the content that I'm asking you to create. Say you're looking to create a blog post about a specific topic. Or some experiences that you've had. If you share some documents and existing content you have that contain some information related to that, it can help the AI sharpen its response. And so that's something that you can do in a more complex approach. One other thing I want to call out before we get into the framework is word choice matters. So if you try with a prompt and it doesn't quite work, go back and revisit the phrasing, revisit the wording, break out the thesaurus and come up with some different ways to frame that for the AI and see how well it responds. You'll notice that different AI models respond well to different types of formulas. So let's talk about the framework and walk through this. This is called the CRAFT framework for AI prompting. Starts with C, character. As you're writing your prompt, the first thing that you want to do, and I'm going to show you some practical examples here so you can have a really good handle on what this looks like. And then we'll do a couple of quick live demos so you can see in real time what happens when you feed a prompt like this to a generative AI tool. Character, define the persona that the AI should emulate, right? Think of it as you're narrowing the focus of the AI, but you want it to put that persona on. So if you're looking to develop some marketing materials for your business, start out by telling the AI you are a world-class marketing professional with experience in helping small businesses scale. And so what that does is it tells the AI the type of framing you want it to take when it goes out to get information to bring it back for you and think through that. Reason. Why are you doing this? Give it the context or background. Are you working on a specific project? Are you trying to develop new product offerings for your business? Or are you trying to think through, different types of ways to market your company online? There's a bunch of different reasons you could have for prompting it this way. Next is the A for your aim. So specify your intended goal or outcome. Be specific. What is it you want the AI to do for you? This is another place where prompts I've found can go astray. If you're not being specific enough in that intended outcome, the AI gets a little confused and kind of fills in the gaps itself. So it may come back with something that doesn't help you a lot. Then the F, format. So we want to detail the structure and type of response. And what that looks like often is you can say, bring me back a bulleted list with this information. Or you can get more complex and say, I'd like to see this formatted in a table that includes these fields, the name or description, the reason for this, additional notes. You can get much more advanced. Certain AIs have gotten good at this, and ask it to draft you a white paper on a particular topic that includes data visualizations, graphics, and tables, and you'll get back an entire document. I recently was doing a project looking at the evolution of talent intelligence. And the AI tool that I was using at that point, I was able to generate a 32-page white paper on the advances in that space over the last 3 years with full references that were linked. So I could actually go in and validate the information that the AI was sharing with me. And the last one is tone and tools. So clarifying the tone. Do you want this to be a buttoned up professional response that you're going to use in a very corporate environment? Or are you looking for something fun and engaging, something that people can actually connect to? That's very important. Otherwise, the AI will kind of default to the tone that it might think is best. And this is where you plug in the tools. As I mentioned before, if you have a reference documentation that you want to guide the AI towards, nudge them in that direction at this point. You can say, please refer to this document or this website in particular. So that is the craft framework. And before we take a look at the examples, one other thing I want to call out about how we use AI. I mentioned the white paper that was generated for me before. When you save that kind of time and you're able to get a 30-page white paper, um, it's very tempting to say, hey, great, I've got everything I need. I can just move forward. That's not really a best practice with AI. At that point, you need to go in and validate. So while you're not spending as much time writing the white paper, you do need to make sure that everything is in there is relevant and there weren't any what we call hallucinations where AI kind of fills in the blanks there. And there's ways to coach it through the prompting to do that. Another way to think about it too is the AI is really like a head start type tool. It'll get you past the blank page, which is often the hardest part when you're trying to generate something new, to something that you can react to and something that you can craft for so it's more fit for purpose, something that really resonates with your business. So let me show you a couple of examples of how the craft framework plays out when you write an AI prompt. We can go to the next slide, please. So this is a request, a prompt that is designed to get the AI to write a personal bio. So if we go back to what Xenia was telling us about storytelling and rooting things in who we are and where we come from, if you have a lot of this information that you can share with the AI, whether that be social media profiles or past bios and information, or maybe you've written down a couple of stories and captured them that are very important to you, you can use those as reference in a prompt like this. So let's break the prompt down. First, we're starting with that C, character. So you're a talented copywriter experienced in writing engaging about me bios for entrepreneurs. So we've told the AI, here's the hat you're wearing today. Okay, and this is who I need you to be. Using my professional background and personal achievements provided, craft a concise, appealing bio suitable for my business website. This is the R, the reason. Why are you doing this? Then we move into the A, the aim. The bio should succinctly highlight my expertise, accomplishment, and personality in 150 words or less. The F, format. Format this as a short paragraph optimized for a website about me section. So you could have asked it to format a long form bio that you can release in a media packet or a press packet. In this case, we were looking for the short about me. And then the tone and tools, keep the tone warm, approachable, and professional. So that's one example. Let me show you a second example of how we might use this social media marketing campaign for a beauty and wellness business. Again, we start with the character, inviting the AI to put on the hat of a creative digital marketing expert that's specialized in that space. So the AI is going to take more references from the beauty and wellness space naturally as a result of that portion of the prompt. The reason you're getting ready to launch a boutique spa offering that specializes in a certain area aimed at busy professionals. So there's the reason, the aim, you're looking for a social media campaign for specific platforms, the format, structure the post with captivating visual concepts, compelling captions, and trending hashtags, and then tone and tools. Employ an engaging, enthusiastic, and welcoming tone, which is more likely what you're going to hear on social media versus a super business or professional tone. We can go to the next slide, please. So before we do a live demo, I want to talk about use cases for a minute. One of the ways I have used AI, especially when working on some business problems and starting out working with entrepreneurs for early in their business journey, is to help frame out things like developing a brand for a business. This is something you can pay an agency a ton of money to do, but AI is actually able to be a thought partner and help you do this sort of thing. So, developing your brand includes coming up with your brand pillars. What is your brand about? What are the things that your brand stands on? What is your vision for the brand and the company? What is your mission? What are your values? These are key things that are going to drive the messaging and the story that you tell your customers, that you tell your clients, and that your brand cohesively tells overall with its public face. Other use cases to think about. Time-saving use cases, obviously developing campaigns, crafting communications and marketing, and then identifying growth opportunities. This is where that thought partner piece comes back with different generative AIs. How do you develop new product offerings? We'll talk to the AI about it. Once you've done things like introduce the AI to your business, whether that be having it look at your website or sharing documentation like the brand documents you see on the left with the AI and saying, based on what you know about my business, help me identify opportunities for new product offerings based on trends in the market of X, whatever industry that you're in. Same thing is true for new client strategies. So there is an endless number of ways that you can apply and use this. You're truly only limited by your creativity. And the cool thing about generative AI is it's one of the only tools I've ever encountered that if you get stuck, you can ask it. So if you run out of ideas, ask the AI for some ideas, see what it comes back with. So let's do a quick live demo. I can share my screen and I'll show you a couple of prompts that I've developed using the craft framework to be able to show you what it looks like in real time. Oh, there we go. And I know this text might be small for some of you, so I will read this out as well, so you can have an idea of what's going in with the prompt. So in this first prompt, we're going to use that social media campaign idea. I went to ChatGPT. You'll see up in the top left-hand corner, there's a multiple models of ChatGPT we can get into. We're not going to dive deep into that today. We're using 4.5, which is the latest model that they have available. But certain models are better for different things. This one is going to work really well for this task. And this is part of the exploration I invite you to do once you have this framework and you're able to explore a little bit. So I enter the prompt into the chat here. You're a world-class social media marketing manager. I'm launching a new collection of coaching packages intended for entrepreneurs. Design a 3-week social media campaign aimed at announcing the new coaching packages and attracting entrepreneur clients. I'll be using Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for the campaigns, and you should include these platforms in the campaign plan. Please use everything you know about me and my business, Echelon HR, to ensure the campaign project or projects my brand image effectively. Format your response in a table and include descriptions for each along with any additional media I will need. Use professional, engaging, and fun marketing tone for the content. So one thing I want to highlight before I actually have the AI respond to this prompt is I've been working with ChatGPT for a while. So my brand documentation and a lot of information about Echelon HR has already been uploaded to my ChatGPT account. And it takes all of that into account when I ask it to do something like this. So I'm looking for a 3-week social media campaign. That's a day-by-day breakdown of which platforms I should be posting on, how often I should be posting, what that content should look like. That would take me a significant amount of time for me to sit down and look at the blank page and develop this on my own, or a decent amount of money if I'm paying a social media marketing professional to do that for me. As you can see we're probably at the 30-second mark. ChatGPT is already getting to work on it. And I'm going to open up the table here as it continues to progress. There we go. You can see it's laying out a day-by-day plan, the platform. It's even dropping some emojis into my messaging for me. Calling out the additional media needs, so what else I'll need to do there. It's moving on to week 2. Processing each day by day. Continuing to think. You'll see sometimes it takes a moment to fully format as into the table like you see with the week 1 section. Sometimes you may need to ask it to do it one more time. It even includes campaign goals for me. I didn't ask it for that, but based on my prompt, the reason it's sharing it with me because it wants me to be able to focus and understand the campaign goals. So if I want to take this and begin to work with it outside of ChatGPT, very simple. I can copy, paste that way. I can do a share by email if I'm sending it to somebody else or partnering with someone else. And that campaign was done in under 2 minutes. With some reworking and looking through the details and making sure that it's appropriate for what I wanted and intend to do, it gets me there pretty quickly. So I want to look at one more example here, and this is the bios example. I'll enter the prompt here. So you're a top public relations expert who specializes in working with entrepreneurs. So there's our character. The reason: I'm preparing to deliver a keynote address at an upcoming conference for human resources professionals. The aim: create 2 bios for me. The first bio should be appropriate for use in the conference website and promotional materials. The second bio should be appropriate for use by the host of the event to introduce me before the keynote speech. Use everything you know about me and my background to draft the bios. The format: provide these bios in a paragraph format with bullets where it makes sense. And tone and tools: use an engaging, upbeat, and professional tone that will resonate well with human resources professionals who are interested in career development. Let's see what ChatGPT is able to do for me in a short period of time here. And I don't know about you, writing bios is one of my least favorite things. Often it's very hard to craft something that resonates in the bio space, which is why people have entire careers writing bios for other people. But this is a very cost-effective way for me to get to these bios much faster and save time and energy as a business owner. So it started off by doing the first bio that I asked it to, the conference website and promotional materials. Very clean format there with a little bit of storytelling, a few bullets, and wrapping it up. And then the onstage keynote introduction. ChatGPT already knew to write it in the voice of the person who was reading it. So I could basically email this to them and say, hey, can we use this intro? So super straightforward. These are 2 very quick, concise examples of how you can apply ChatGPT. What I would invite all of you to do is take this prompting framework, use a generative AI tool of your choice, whether that's Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot, and start testing it out for yourself. See where it can save you time. See where it might be able to help you break through any log jams that you might have encountered in some projects and work that you want to do. Even start having some conversations about your business and how you might be able to optimize your business differently. I hope this information has been super helpful for all of you. I did include my contact information in the deck as well, so if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. I always enjoy helping people kind of reach that next level, especially with tools like AI. And so with that, I'd like to throw it back to the room, open it up for questions. I would say if anybody has a question for me, it might be easier if the mic is available. I don't know if it's possible to pass the mic to someone if they have a question.